Typhoon Wipha await, up call to the power of nature in the 21st century. The 2025 Pacific typhoon season witnessed the emergence of a formidable force of nature named Wipha. As the sixth named storm of the season, Wipha quickly asserted its destructive power as it made landfall on the southern coast of China during a tumultuous Sunday evening. The storm was not merely a meteorological event, it was a full-scale assault on the lives, economy, and infrastructure of one of the world's most urbanized and dynamic regions, encompassing the megacities of Hong Kong, Macau, Shenzhen, and Zhuhai. Wipha's journey began over warm ocean waters, where it gathered energy and intensified into a Category 1 storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale, a strength capable of inflicting horrifying damage. Around 5:50 p.m. local time, the storm's eye approached Taishan City in Guangdong province. At this point, reached 170 km equivalent to 106 mph, with even more powerful gusts exceeding 167 km. This terrifying force turned gentle waves into ferocious walls of water, mercilessly battering coastal infrastructure. Ancient trees that had stood firm for decades were knocked down and uprooted like toothpicks. Simultaneously, torrential downpours caused flash floods, transforming low-lying areas into dangerous rivers of mud in a matter of minutes. In Hong Kong, a global financial hub, the city faced its harshest test. For the first time since 2023, the Hong Kong Observatory was compelled to issue the highest tropical cyclone warning, Signal No 10. This was not a decision made lightly, signaling a direct and severe threat to life and property. As Wipha's eyewall swept just south of the city at midday, Hong Kong nearly held its breath. Extreme rainfall, over 110 mm in just 3 hours, overwhelmed the city's modern drainage system. Streets turned into rivers, and the bamboo scaffolding characteristic of construction sites here was torn apart and collapsed by the wind, creating a scene of chaos and danger. The human and material consequences were clear. Over 470 trees were felled, and at least 26 people required medical attention for injuries. Ferry routes, the lifelines connecting the islands, had to cease operations. Even the airport express train, a symbol of connectivity, was temporarily shut down. Hong Kong International Airport, one of the world's busiest, became an unwilling shelter for nearly 80,000 stranded passengers as over 400 flights were rescheduled, and Cathay Pacific canceled its entire flight schedule for 13 hours. The situation in neighboring cities was no less severe. In Macau, although the storm signal was later lowered from 10 to 8, the risk of flooding in the historic inner harbor area remained, threatening the lives of residents. At least 200 flights at the city's airport were canceled, and public shelters had to be opened to accommodate displaced residents. In Zhuhai, situated directly in the storm's path, authorities had to activate the highest alert in China's 4-tier system, a Level 1 emergency response. The world's longest sea crossing, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, a symbol of modern cooperation and engineering, had to close completely in the face of the terrifying wind, severing a critical transportation artery. Across Guangdong province, a massive evacuation was carried out, with over 440,000 residents from coastal and inland areas moved to safety. The agricultural sector, the backbone of many communities, suffered heavy losses as fertile fields were submerged in water, completely destroying the farmers' hard work. The total economic damage was estimated to be in the hundreds of millions of yuan, a figure reflecting the widespread devastation to infrastructure, commerce, and production. Waves reaching up to 8.8 meters caused severe erosion, damaging seawalls and permanently altering the coastlines of Zhuhai and Yangjiang. The storm's impact extended beyond man-made structures, as fragile ecosystems like mangrove forests and coral reefs were damaged by saltwater intrusion and debris pollution. Before arriving in China, Wipha had already left its mark on the Philippines, where it exacerbated seasonal monsoon rains, causing floods and landslides that affected the lives of over 370,000 people, and its journey was not over. After sweeping through Guangdong, Typhoon Wipha continued its westward track, heading straight for Vietnam, where it was predicted to make a second landfall. Learning from the painful experience of its neighbors, the Vietnamese government prepared intensively. Evacuations were carried out in vulnerable areas like Halong Bay. A tragic incident occurred when a tourist boat capsized, and search and rescue operations are still ongoing. Thousands of coastal residents have been moved to safe shelters. With rainfall forecast to exceed 600 mm, the risk of landslides, flash floods, and dam breaks is at an all-time high. Typhoon Wipha is not just a natural disaster, it is an expensive wake-up call. This event has exposed the inherent vulnerabilities in modern urban infrastructure when faced with extreme weather phenomena. It has forced governments across Southeast Asia to reconsider and focus seriously on long-term solutions, building climate resilience, adopting adaptive urban development strategies, and strengthening disaster preparedness systems. The discussion on how to enhance both environmental protection and build more robust infrastructure has been reignited with vigor, because Wipha and similar storms are not a question of if, but when they will return with increasingly unpredictable intensity in a warming world.